The Shep Naz podcast begins now.
Welcome to the Shep Naz podcast. I'm Joe, and I'm your host today. And yesterday, if you were listening, we were kind of doing some updates on things that you should know that are happening at Shepherd. And so we're going to continue on in that conversation today because there are so many things going on, we couldn't get it all fit into one day. Pastor Nick has bailed on us because he needed to get going to actually do some ministry stuff. But the three of us decided to just keep talking in this room.
Yep. So we got nothing going on.
That's
it's
right.
Fine.
So that's
Our
exactly what we're going to do. So Pastor Rob, bring us in.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us today. As Joe mentioned, there's just a lot of stuff going on, and we want to try to keep everybody in the loop as to what's going on. And so today what I want to share with you is some news regarding Little Lambs, and then we have some other news at the end as well. But as you know, we have hosted Little Lambs here on our campus for more than 20 years, I believe. I don't know exactly, but it's been a while. And we've really been experiencing some challenges lately, and many of you are familiar with the challenge we experienced in December, and just lots of little challenges over the last couple of years, and they all kind of add up. And what we've come to the realization of is that we felt like as a board and the leadership team that the best decision for us in the long haul is that we close Little Lambs down for a short season with the potential opportunity of reopening it back up as something else. So if we open back up again, it won't be Little Lambs because we'll be turning in our license, our daycare license, but we'll get another one. It'll be called something different, probably Shepherd Early Learning Center. So it's been a really challenging time because we wanted to make sure that, we want to take care of the parents and the families that are here. But we've really been under a hard time crunch, and we've had to make some decisions that were not popular and honestly were unfortunate for families because they had to scramble to find care. And so we announced last week that we're going to close Little Lambs down in phases. And the first phase is that we're closing the infant, toddler, and preschool, which is basically, I think, birth through age 3. Closing that prior to Easter. So we gave only 2 weeks notice. We would have loved to give more. There's reasons we couldn't give more. If you ever want to talk more about it, I can certainly do it. But I feel like I just want to give you this update. And so we're closing that down. And then we also have a large group of pre-kindergarten class, 2 classes with a lot of kids in it. And the pre-kindergarten class is going to stay open until the end of the school year. And the reason for that is because they are on a set curriculum. They're getting ready for kindergarten, and we want to be able to honor that as well. So it's been a bit of a challenge in communicating with parents. Obviously, with some of the staff that are working, we aren't able to keep all of them. We're hoping to keep some of them. We've planned to keep some of them. And it's just been a real big challenge. But you may have heard, here or there through the grapevine, because, it's a pretty productive grapevine. It gets around. And,
Really?
And yeah. And so, like, we can't say everything in the podcast that's going on, but I think that hopefully it will help you to know and understand that the board has been thinking about this and praying about this. And the decisions that we made were unanimous moving forward to do it this way. We're hoping that this gives us favor with the state of Ohio and Ohio Department of Job and Family Services, that when we want to reopen or apply for a new license, that they'll look favorably on the choices that we've made to honor their guidelines for us as well. And so it has been a challenge. So, but that's kind of where we're at with that.
I think sometimes when there are changes in direction in ministry, sometimes it can get discouraging because you feel in a human sense like, oh, we failed.
Yeah.
But even as you were talking, what I was really thinking about, well, I was listening to what you said, by the way, but I really felt the Spirit was kind of talking to me about when Paul received the Macedonian call. There was a direction that he was convinced that he was supposed to go. Mm-hmm. when he was trying to go that direction, it just kept there was roadblocks, and it just kept getting stopped. And eventually he understood it's because he was being called to something else.
Yeah.
And sometimes in order for us to say yes to the right thing, we have to say no to some things that we were holding on to.
Yeah.
And, I'll just echo, I know from certainly my wife has Susan, bless her heart, has put her heart and soul in it, and came to you and the board and said, I really think this is, even though it's self-deprecating in a way, to say, I think this is probably our best alternative. And it certainly wasn't her decision. It wasn't your decision. It was a combined decision, and the church board ultimately looked into it, and they felt that this was the direction that it needed to go.
Yep.
And decisions like this, like big decisions, is something I love about this church and your leadership and the leadership of the board. It's like nothing just gets decided with the snap of a finger because it sounds like, okay, then we just need to do this. It's like everything goes in prayerfully and thoughtfully. There's no decisions made on the flip of a dime. It's like, no, Lord, what is the call for us to make? And that's just something that I've always appreciated about the leadership here. And like, if you don't know, like I have a kid that is part of this daycare. So to know and trust the leadership that they're listening to the Holy Spirit, they're listening for the guidance of the Lord, and knowing that even though, yes, this affects my kiddo, it's like, I know that God's got a plan.
Yeah.
And so though sometimes that can get scary and like you said, sometimes discouraging, it's like, but God's always good. Even if the situation isn't, God's always good. And if he's in the middle of it and taking care of it, then all we know to do is trust and know that he's got it going on.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. And it's been a challenge, very hard. Sometimes leading stinks because you make hard decisions, and it frustrates people and upsets them. But sometimes the right thing to do is the hard thing to do, and it seemed like that's where we were. So. But anyway, please be praying for the families that are affected. We have staff that are affected. The school has staff that are affected. It's not like, we're just shutting down and it's done. It's a long process and a big deal. And pray for wisdom about the possibility to reopen and how that would look and work and all that kind of stuff. But something else that I wanted to talk to you about is, and that you may not know this as well, but the school, Shepherd Christian School and Little Lambs, are two totally different organizations or ministries administered to different families and different kids. There's some kind of thread that goes between them, but it's very different licenses, all that other kind of stuff. The school is going like crazy. It is going crazy. And this coming fall, the school will have the highest enrollment that it's ever had, and it'll be over 300 kids.
It's crazy.
And
that's a good crazy.
Yeah, and the crazy part about it is that there's not a lot of room for 300 kids. We're going to fit them in because we want to minister to them and have that opportunity. But Mr. Fluhart has done a great job. He has a great staff over there that love the kids and are caring well for them and teaching them. And kids are doing well and maturing, not only in their educational process, but in their faith, and chapels, and the Bible's worked into all the classes, and we have a really, really great school. And while we have the kind of the bad news, we have some good news too. And we're looking at how to expand space, and you'll be hearing some more about that in the very near future, about opportunities that we've been exploring and thinking about and praying about, and the board's been working on as well. But so that's going really well. And in addition to that, we had a membership class last Wednesday, or a while ago, not a week or so ago.
Yeah, it was last Wednesday.
Yeah, and we'll be receiving 9 new members to our church on April 14th. I'm excited about that because there's a lot of churches that don't do membership anymore. They just don't do it. But I think membership, and we did a whole episode, maybe 1 or 2, on membership, and I think it's very important, because it identifies who's committed, who's on the team, and so we're really super excited about that. And then the other thing that is not too late for you to join, on Easter Sunday, we have baptism scheduled, and we have several people signed up for baptism right now, and so we'll be celebrating their baptism along with the resurrection of Jesus, and that baptism is symbolic of the resurrection. So if you've never been baptized and you'd like to be baptized, this is what a great Sunday to do it. You'll remember it because it's Easter Sunday.
I love the way our church does baptisms.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've been part of a church that's done it exactly the way we do. Sometimes our congregation can be reserved during praise and worship, although Zack does a great job of getting us out of our shell.
Yeah,
but that is one occasion where I just see everybody let loose, it is a joy to see.
Yep.
So I hope that I'm not spoiling anything. I hope we actually have that planned.
No, we were going to do a really somber one this year. No,
very subdued.
Absolutely.
Golf claps.
Right.
What is it? The poetry snaps.
If you haven't been there, we're singing and worshiping as people are being baptized and just hooping it up and cheering these people on, and it's a wonderful opportunity, and it's a wonderful thing to see. I mean, been a believer for decades, and there's just such a joy to be able to see somebody make that profession for the first time.
100%. And I'll tell you, I have such a unique perspective from it because we're up there on the stage looking out. And so what you just said, watching our congregation light up. And it's not because it's okay, this is the time to clap.
Right.
It's they are truly excited and celebrating that this person has a different life now.
Yeah.
They, buried with Christ, risen again. There's so many times where we've done baptisms and I'm just I almost have to check out because I'm just going to bawl like a baby. Just watching the excitement of our church. It's so awesome, man. I love it.
It is fun, is a highlight for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's going to be Easter Sunday. If you are interested in that, we'll put, I just learned last episode that we have show notes. And so we'll put,
we've been doing this thing for over a year.
So we'll put the information in there. But if you're interested, you can just email podcast.
Sure. You can email podcast at
shepnaz and let us know you're interested, or Joe will put the appropriate information in the show notes if you want to check that out. But just let us know. We'll get you some information so you can be a part of that as well.
I want to live like you and see people how you see them.
I want your mission to be my mission.
I don't want to shrink back from the big questions. Help me to listen deeply as you would.
God, so many things try to hold us back, but let your love speak louder than fear.
By your Spirit, Lord, remind me I don't have to be who I'm not.
I can connect compassionately out of who you made me to be, even out of my brokenness.
Lead me as I share the simple gospel.
Refresh me in the midst of resistance.
Fill me with fresh vision for the next generation.
And let me know the joy of connecting the people you love back to you.
Fear and discouragement can cause us to shrink back from sharing the good news, but spiritual openness is rising in the U.S. God is calling us to remember why He sent His Son, not to condemn the world, but to save it. If you'd like to learn more how to share your faith or sharpen up your skills on how to share Jesus with others, please join Pastor Rob starting Wednesday, April 3rd in the sanctuary for an 8-week class on sharing your faith. This 8-part video-driven course is full of inspiring stories and actionable challenges from 18 amazing contributors.
And then the last thing that I thought was kind of interesting that I wanted to share with you, I'm very excited about, is that we're going to begin to provide some resources surrounding the Sunday messages to help you as well. One of our part of our strategy is to help people to engage daily. Which is why one of the reasons we have this podcast. We want to give you something to engage with in the church and the Word. But we'll be putting out a 5-day devotional based on the message that Sunday So you'll be able to pick it up Sunday morning when you come into the service, or you'll be able to download it if you're watching online. Or if you go to the website where you see the videos, if you click on that, there'll be a download. You can get a 5-day devotional that will go through the message. And this week's going to be on Palm Sunday. And then also there's a parent guide where you could, there's questions that are age appropriate for your children. So if you have children, you can talk about what the message was on Sunday, like Palm Sunday, and then the questions will kind of line up with the message, and you can talk to your kids about that kind of stuff. So we're excited about that. And then there's one other thing that we'll be talking about as well, and that is group guides. So our small groups, our Connect groups that meet, will have the opportunity to do just some application questions regarding the message as well. I know a lot of our classes and groups do other studies. If you wanted to keep doing those, that's fine. But if you wanted to participate by kind of walking through the sermon and application points, those things will be available. So that'll actually be starting this Sunday. They'll be available for you in the sanctuary. If you're watching online, there'll be a place you can click it and download it. Hopefully we'll get it on the app too, so you won't have to print any paper. You can just carry it around with you and have it with you. So. Yep.
And just to give them a little direction on how to get to that, I'm going to tech out here for a second and kind of walk them through a couple things. You can go to shepnaz.org, and there's many ways to navigate to something. But if you go to shepnaz.org, if you go /media, MEDIA, shepnaz.org/media, that will take you straight to the latest message. And what you'll see there is you'll see a little video thumbnail and the title of the message and a description underneath it. You click to get into that particular message. And once you're in that message, you can rewatch the sermon if you want to watch it there. Also,
that's brutal to have to watch it or listen to it twice. I will say that.
Yeah, but you can skip wherever you want. You know.
Go right to the end, the closing prayer.
But underneath the video on the webpage, you'll see where it'll say downloads, and there are several that'll be there. In fact, if you want to check even now. We've done this the past couple of weeks just as a running test before we started telling everybody else about it. So for the past couple Sundays, if you go back to those messages and you look at them, underneath the description, you can click View All Downloads, and you'll see it listed. You'll have, first of all, your notes with the blanks filled in, because sometimes, I don't know if you're aware of this, but sometimes you'll skip one. And
I know when I do.
We get questions about those because the people want to fill out that blank.
Facts. How it is people really could care less, or they're like, I have a blank and I don't know what it is, and it's going to drive me crazy if you don't tell me what it is.
So if you happen to be one of those people, or if you know someone that's one of those people, you can go there and you can get the message notes with the blanks filled out. Or if you want to use it as a game, you can see if you were right because it's the answer.
Some people
key.
do that. They fill it out ahead of time to see if they're right.
And
I know some people that do that.
Probably your family.
No, my family just tells me how I screwed up or what I said wrong or whatever while we're eating dinner on Sunday.
And so you'll see the message notes with the answers. Then you'll also see, as you said, the 5-day devotional. You'll see a small group leader guide and a parent guide.
Yep.
And you can actually go through previous messages. Now, we can't go back. I mean, I suppose we could, but as you've heard over the past couple of days, there's a lot going on here. So starting a couple weeks ago, we had that. Moving forward, we will. So as you're looking through the messages, you can always go back and, kind of re-hit those and also do the devotionals. And the parent guide, I think, is great. I was looking through some of those questions and just great discussion starters with your kids of being intentional about talking to your children. And it doesn't have to be little kids. It can be older kids too. Yeah. But being intentional about talking to your kids about spiritual matters and hearing what's going on inside their head, how they're interpreting things so that you can disciple them.
Yep. Yeah. It's we're excited to be able to offer this, and not everybody might be interested, but if you are, this is something, just another way to kind of keep you engaged and help you have conversations with people to talk about what it means to take your next step toward Jesus. So, yeah, awesome. I think that's it. I don't have anything else.
Did you talk about membership? I think you did.
Yep. 9 new members.
So 9 new members coming in on April the 14th. So we have a couple special Sundays here with celebrations coming up. The baptisms will be on Easter Sunday. All the downloads that we were talking about is available now and moving forward. So with that, we will call it a day. And just thank you for joining us and kind of keeping up to date with everything that's going on in the church. There are a lot of things happening, specifically on Good Friday. We have the Good Friday experience coming up. We want you to be part of that. There's still a few spots where you can fill out to be that. Just go to shepnaz.org/Good Friday. You can find out other things at shepnaz.org. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. For Pastor Rob and Pastor Zack, I'm Joe. Have a great day. This podcast is a production of the Shepherd Church of the Nazarene, Gahanna, Ohio. Email to podcast@shepnaz.org and let us know what you think.